Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes. Hello. How's everybody doing tonight? Hello. Well, welcome. Here we are, doing it again, hanging out, having a good time on a Thursday evening, live right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. This is where I record my podcast live. And let's say you're popping in, you're seeing this in your stream and going, what? Mr. Warren Hayes Show? What a lovely name this gentleman has. What kind of live stream does he? We're talking about professional wrestling. That's what we do. That's what I record here. This is what we talk about live. That's what I record. And it's available right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. And it's available on podcast platforms as well. All audio things, like Apple and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher and all those places. That's where you can find me, as well as here. And I appreciate everyone joining me live for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, because yes, since I'm doing this live, that instantly means that there are people who are joining us, who are here to watch the to watch this stuff, to enjoy as we go along. Got a great group of people here tonight, per usual. We got Robert Larry, who's here. Nice to see you, Robert. Tim Traver in front of the show. How are you doing, Tim? Big T is here as well. And we have Kelly Tonjes. And I know how to pronounce it now. There's no more, this has been like a meme for months at this point. But I know how to pronounce her name. And I'll tell you why I know how to pronounce her name. I'm at NWA EMPOWERRR last weekend. I'm just standing around, Kristen's with me, and we're just chit-chatting. And Kelly just walks right up and says, Warren, hi, I'm Kelly Tonjes. And we got it out of the way. It's Tonjes. There's no silent J. There's there's nothing like that. Finally put the nail on it. It's fantastic. But it was a pleasure to meet you, Kelly, as well. I'm glad that you walked up, said hello. It was a fun show. I'm going to be talking about that, by the way. Don't you worry. But yes, we finally figured out the mystery of how to pronounce Kelly's last name. Tonjes. How about that? We also got Justin Firestein, who's here as well. Nice to see you, Justin. Phantomark82, our boy Ben, who supplies us with the video, not video, but audio, so that during the pre-roll. Chris Jacobs, good to see you as well. J.K. Schwall is here as well. Mr. Fretz, nice to see you as well. Welcome, everyone. I started on the pre-roll thing because maybe this stepped out of your radar, which is absolutely fine. Like, I don't expect you to be 100% following every move I make every time. But last week the stream was copyright stricken, stroked by New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm like, what? And these things always happen at night, right? And you wake up in the morning, and I grab my, I stretch. This is my routine when I wake up in the morning. I stretch and going, I do one of these. Wipe my eyes. Give Kristen a kiss. Then I grab my phone, and I open it up, and there's an email from YouTube saying that my stream, last week's live stream, was copyright struck by New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I'm like, why? And it didn't dawn on me. And I'm like, I don't use copyrighted content. And then so I'm setting stuff up to kind of like to go ahead and what's the word I'm looking for? Counterclaim. I'm chatting with Kristen. He says, well, you do have like Hiromu in your pre-roll, and I've got the Jay White, clapping along to Taichi thing, and smiling Tanahashi as well, with the gleam. I'm like, shit. So they struck me down because I use GIFs. Right? That's the thing. So I'm not going to lie. It's very heavy-handed. If you're going to copyright, copyright strike creators for using very short GIFs of your stuff, or it. Look, New Japan is probably the most heavy-handed promotion out there with the DMCA takedowns. They really are. Like, they just wipe out entire accounts on Twitter and whatnot. So it bummed me out. So, you know, at least, so I'm telling you all this because this all happens in the pre-roll before. So Ben ultimately supplies the music, and he hasn't copyright struck me yet. That's good. So, you know, the pre-roll was very boring, and I'll figure something out moving forward. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take all this content off moving forward because I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess. I don't want to mess with that stuff moving forward, right? There's really no point to it. But anyway, long story short, and I could have, you know, fought it, but I'm like, well, it's not. It, you know, the strike is going to be released in about 90 days. I'm a good guy. I don't pirate stuff. I don't put live content. I won't, you know, I'll be fine. It's just a slap on the wrist. Then it'll disappear in a month, and I'll be okay. So, what are you gonna do? So that's the story here. But all, you know, very roundabout way for me to tell you, go support our boy Ben. PhantomMark82, Facebook.com/PhantomMark82. It's the best link to get access to all of his music, everything he does. He's a great guy on top of that. So, yeah, go do that. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you for listening on demand. If you're doing it right now, give the video a thumbs up. Right, show New Japan that I'm cool. That's absolutely fine. So we'll just keep doing that. And if you're listening right now on your favorite podcast application, well, thank you very much. And let's show some love there as well. A review, a like, a subscription, a follow, whatever you can do, that kind of stuff. Really, really, really does help out quite a bit. Also, don't forget, head on over to belltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELLES.com. And look, the .com, fantastic stuff, right? You got to go there. It's extraordinary. You got all the articles. You know, it's really the hub for everything we do at Bell to Bells. Women's Wrestling Wire, of course. But listen, you go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/belltobells. Listen, over the past, couple of weeks, like 3 to 4 weeks, we've been interviewing everyone. We just been having chats with everyone, okay? And I'm talking to everyone. I'm talking, look, just thanks to this weekend that I spent at NWA, I talked to Mickie James. I talked to Deonna Purrazzo. I talked to the new NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, the Hex. That's all there. Talked to Tootie Lynn, Kylie Ray. We've got an interview with the new Pro Wrestling Eve champion, Jeddah. She wasn't champion yet, but we still have that interview with her. Masha Slamovich, Bianca Corelli, Hyann, Lady Frost, Vert Vixen. Hey, listen, I don't know what to tell you. Everyone you want to hear talk about her there. So just head on over there. YouTube.com/belltobells. And we've got more coming up. Secrets. Big time secrets that I can't talk about. You know why? Because they're secrets. How about that? So show some support there. Also join the MrWarrenHayes Show Discord. Link is in the description. It's a great place to chat about wrestling 24 hours a day. There's always people there itching, chomping at the bit to talk about wrestling. So that's fantastic. And it's a great way to show, you know, some support for the show. And if you want to show support for the YouTube channel here, consider becoming a member. If you're a member, if you like to come live, become a member of the MrWarrenHayes Show Discord channel. Join. You get access to some great exclusive emotes. But on top of that, you get to join us for the post show where we continue talking about wrestling. And tonight on the post show, exclusively for channel members, we are going to be talking about AEW All Out 2021. I want to hear who you absolutely think has to win this weekend. Who is going to win this weekend? Who has to win is my point. Like, people are, oh, so-and-so's going to win. But who needs a victory this weekend? I want to hear from you. Become a member and join us immediately after. When we're done, we take live calls. We take chats from the Discord, from the live chat. Look, we're all over the place, but it's a good all over the place. Come and join us. It's fantastic. And you can also show some support with a super chat. I will read your question or comment live on the air, such as our boy Anakin right here. By the way, hello, Anakin, and welcome to the chat. Anakin left us a super chat. Thank you. We talk about Marvel stuff on the Discord quite often, and so we have some crossover here. Thanks, Anakin. He says Shang-Chi was the perfect pick-me-up for today. Please talk to someone if you need to. Also, Saturday 2 p.m. Discord All Out prediction stage. See you there. All right, so listen. First and foremost, Shang-Chi. Yes, I've been hearing some good things about it. Apparently, it's a very good Marvel movie. That's good to hear. I'm glad Anakin liked it. Saturday, 2 p.m. Discord All Out prediction stage. We set up a stage there, and it turns into a roundtable discussion. You can just sit in and listen, or you can actually participate. So Anakin's setting that up for this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern in the Discord. That's fantastic. And yes, we're going to get into that. If there is anyone that you do need to talk to, you're not feeling the best, always reach out to someone. There's always someone there. We're going to talk about that right now, actually. Hang on. Just before we do, I'm realizing that the bots are out of control right now. Let me see. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and turn off CloudBot here. And I'm realizing that, the bots are a little spammy tonight. We'll keep apologies for that, chat. The Streamlabs bot is a little strange. But hey, do want to say hello to DGMC, who joined us as well. Good to see you, sir. JK Schwal. I think I said hello to JK Schwal, but hey, hello again, JK Schwal. Am I missing anyone? I hope not. All right, no, I think I've got everyone covered for now. Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Thank you for joining us. So what Anakin was alluding to when he said if you need to talk to someone, please do reach out. Absolutely. Well, we learned today of the unfortunate passing of Shannon Spruill, who was known to wrestling fans as Daffney. She passed away at the age of 46. We learned of the tragic event through the Shimmer wrestling account today. I'll read you verbatim what was on the tweet. We are very sad to have to announce the passing of Shannon Spruill, aka Daffney Unger, also known as the Scream Queen Daffney. We are posting this at the request of her family. Please respect their privacy at this trying time. I will miss you, my logical sister. From another mister. This was written by Lexi Fife from Shimmer. This is on the heels of a very concerning Instagram live that Daffney had late last night. She made some very distressing comments. There was a huge outpour of support from friends, fellow wrestlers, fans. Some very close to her were begging anyone to get some help sent out her way. Earlier today, I should say, we unfortunately find out that things took a very dramatic turn. Daffney's career spans at least 20 years. She debuted in 1999, and she debuted as the unstable girlfriend of David Flair in WCW. She had auditioned for a spot. She was just picked out. She had auditioned just to be on WCW, and she was picked out from the crowd. So essentially that's how she got her start in the business, as a valet, and her distinctive scream would follow her throughout her entire career, her character, really. In WCW, she'd also manage, as well as David Flair, she'd also manage Crowbar, from whom she'd eventually win the WCW Cruiserweight title on an episode of Nitro in 2000, making her the second woman to hold the title. And she also has the distinction to have been the only woman who's ever wrestled Miss Elizabeth, or at least her first opponent. She was her first opponent on again an episode of Nitro back in the early 2000s. She lost her job at WCW when WWF purchased the company, so she worked the indies. She was the valet. She also worked in Ring of Honor. She was the valet for the Second City Saints, which was a stable comprised of CM Punk, Colt Cabana, Chris Guy, and Tracy Brooks. But I think she will mostly be remembered from her time in TNA, going back to 2002, like when TNA was very, very fledgling. She was Shark Boy's valet. She was Shark Girl. And it was a gimmick she would even use later when she would wrestle in Shimmer. But I think most fans remember her from her work in Impact, TNA Impact. She wrestled, or she worked at least, wrestled and worked with the likes of Abyss, Stevie Richards, Raven, Awesome Kong, Angelina Love, Taylor Wilde, many others. A huge laundry list. Mick Foley on top of that. So it's quite a shocking loss, disturbing, very upsetting. And there's a lot of conjecture, right? And a lot of people speculating right now, putting dots together. But I think the most respectful thing to do right now is to let people mourn. Let the reports that come together. We'll eventually, I'm sure, find out exactly what happened. But in the meantime, kind of like what Anakin said, if you are hurting right now, if you are in distress, please, at the very least, call the National Suicide Hotline if you're in the United States. There's the equivalents in Canada, in the UK, or wherever it is you're listening to me right now. If you're in crisis, reach out to a friend, a well-wisher. Hell, reach out to me. My DMs are not closed, and I'll do my best to lend a sympathetic ear. Never an easy subject to tackle, but I do extend my condolences to Daphne's family, her friends, her loved ones. Shannon Spruill, quite an unfortunate turn here, but we'll see how things move forward here. But yeah, there we go. Since we're talking about since we're already sort of on the subject, let's keep going. Let's start talking about wrestling. Let's get into it. I'm going to start talking about Pro Wrestling Eve, right? Because I'm going to tell you, this weekend was a fantastic show, a fantastic weekend for women's wrestling. Want to say hello to Carlos, Sports and Things Shows. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. And also AK Germany 96. Nice to see you too. So this is kind of what I look at the past weekend, and was really a great weekend for women's wrestling. Pro Wrestling Eve came back. Wrestle Queendom 4 was their first show, the first show that they ran since March 2020, of course. Pandemic, all that stuff, all kept them from running. But now things in the UK are starting to open back up, and I'm very excited to see Eve putting on more shows. And this was a very good show with some great surprises on it as well. I'll run through the card real quickly. We had the opening match, which was Mercedes Blaze defeating Clementine. Clementine is still very young in wrestling. Her home base is Eve, but she's very much a crowd favorite. Mercedes Blaze has been improving dramatically. Like, I always thought she was okay, previously, but with the match that she pulled out last Friday, I thought, okay, she has been keeping busy during the pandemic. I thought she's improved tremendously. This was a good opening match. We had a returning Alex Windsor defeating Zoe Lucas, and well, there you go. So that's how you do it. You defeat Zoe Lucas, and you get some great you get a great win here. Alex Windsor is she's been injured for a couple of years. She had surgery on her ACL. So this was a big return match for her, and she looked absolutely fantastic. I was very, very excited to see her. By the way, I want to say thank you to Mr. Fretz for becoming a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Thank you, Mr. Fretz. Appreciate that. Laura DiMatteo defeated Angel Hayes. Laura DiMatteo is, she's always fantastic. She's always a treat to watch. Another great match here that was set up. Then we had the Eve International title gauntlet match held by current champion Casey. There was an entire gauntlet that was put on, and the winner would face the champion at the very end. Casey defeated Debbie Keitel and Emerson Jane and Hyan, Madison Miles, and Nightshade to retain her title. This actually blew the show out of the water at this point. As much as Alex Windsor had a good match, Laura DiMatteo's always fantastic. This just took it to another level. And Emerson Jane, who maybe you know her under the name Sammy Jane. She used to wrestle under that name. Now she wrestles under Emerson Jane. She was fantastic and had such a great showing, defeating Debbie Keitel, Hyan, and Nightshade, all three in the gauntlet, back to back. So of course she gets to Casey. She's burnt out, but she bumped so hard and had a fantastic match with Hyan. Like, absolutely fantastic. This was a great gauntlet match. Like, sometimes you'll be like, oh, gauntlet matches, they're sort of formulaic. Not here. It didn't feel like a formula. It built progressively to the main event when Casey came in. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And then the Eve title held by Rhea O'Reilly was defended against a whole bunch of women in the Eve Rumble match. And ultimately, it was Jeddah, who we interviewed earlier on belltobells.com. It was Jeddah who ended up taking the title off of Rhea O'Reilly. Fantastic. And a big a surprise at the same time. Rhea's had the title, I think, for 11 million years. Let's go take a look. She's had 789 days. She's a she's a three-time Eve champion. Jeddah, this is the first time that Jeddah actually picks up the title. And this was a big, big moment for her. Congratulations to Jeddah. This was another fun match. The big surprise. Throughout the evening, they were teasing. Sky Smithson was supposed to be on the card, and she was being delayed because of traffic. And at first we were like, "Oh, that's a bummer." But then I was like, "Wait a second." You keep hearing Dan from Pro Wrestling Eve, popping in on commentary and saying, "Oh, Sky Smithson's caught in traffic, but she's on her way." I'm like, "Okay, this is a work." And then she finally gets there, but she ends up fighting, as a big surprise return, Charlie Morgan, who was for the longest time the ace of Pro Wrestling Eve and one of the top women's wrestlers on the British wrestling scene. She unfortunately had to retire due to some extensive injuries. She came to the ring and said, "Look, I'm done." And no one saw this coming. She comes out, challenges Sky Smithson, and puts her down. Gets the big win on a big return, big surprise. I am very, very ecstatic for Charlie Morgan to be back wrestling. I think wrestling is better off having a woman like her, especially in the British scene right now. They need women like Charlie Morgan, like Jeddah, like Rhea O'Reilly, just picking up the slack of everything that's gone on and continue to push. Charlie is absolutely fantastic. It was a huge return. So I'm really, really stoked that she's back. And here's the cool thing. I was talking with Dan Reed of Pro Wrestling Eve, and if you want to, if you'd like to watch this, if you'd like to get a taste, there's the first 4 matches of Wrestling Queendom are available for free on YouTube. It was on YouTube, on the Pro Wrestling Eve YouTube channel. So the first 4 matches are there for free. If you want to see the main events and the surprise return that I completely spoiled for you, you have to become a member of the YouTube channel. And the cool thing is that for members, all future Pro Wrestling Eve pay-per-views are going to be streamed onto their YouTube channel. So that's really cool, because instead of going through Fight or other streaming services, which I'm pretty sure they'll be available there as well, if you prefer to have the membership and get on top of that exclusive chats, exclusive streams, it'll all be right there on the YouTube channel. Very excited that Dan is doing that. I think it's fantastic. Very excited that Eve is back. This was a very good show to kick off a very big weekend. So yeah, I highly suggest you checking out this show. There's some really great stuff on this card. Absolutely great stuff. So then, I mean, and we, when I say we, as in Kristen and I, we were traveling to St. Louis, Missouri, to go to the NWA show. So we actually parked our cars at what did I say? Cars. We don't travel in separate vehicles. What am I talking about? We parked our car at a Panera so that we could actually sit down and watch the Eve show. And then we get to St. Louis, and then the next day, the NWA shows. I got to see Empower. I got to see 73. And if you ask me, it's a tale of two different. It's almost like I was watching two different promotions put on wrestling shows. Let's talk it through, though. Of course, this was all happening at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel. Historically significant for the NWA, which ran shows there at the park and on TV for, I think, the better part of 3 decades. Like from the mid-50s to the mid-80s, you're close to 3 decades. So very significant return for the National Wrestling Alliance. Absolutely 100%. Got to the venue, and I really liked the setup. It was very, very simple, but still had a level of pageantry to it. Just the room itself has these wonderful chandeliers, very high ceilings. It has a nice sense of nostalgia when you go in and get in the ring. Everything was set up wonderfully. I thought the venue made sense. It looked really good. And now we're going to get to, and so the first show that we saw was Empower, which was very, very, very good. It was a very good pay-per-view, regardless of what it meant for the women, or for women's wrestling, which is actually a cherry on top of it all, because it was a good wrestling pay-per-view. I honestly think you can't miss with this one. You sit down, you're entertained from top to bottom, and there's a great build. Of course, I've got some nitpicks. There's no such thing as a perfect show, but it was very, very good. First match that we got was triple threat. Diamante defeating Chick Tormenta and Kylie Ray. This was billed as an inter-promotional match. Diamante from AEW, Chick Tormenta from AAA, and Kylie Ray from the NWA. This was fine. A good opener. Maybe not like your blow away super hot opener, but entertaining enough to just get you in the mood. A good initial match. Man, Kylie Ray has fantastic reactions. She really has fantastic reactions. People just love her, and she's very good at pro wrestling. She is a very good professional wrestler. There's nothing to say. She really did stand out in this match. Diamante was very good. Fine little match to kick things off. Then throughout the evening, we had the semifinals and finals of the NWA World Women's Tag Team titles, which were making a comeback at the NWA show. At this NWA show at Empower, we were going to crown champions. And the first semifinal match which was actually the first round. I think this was the whole tournament. It was the Hex, Allison Kay and Marty Bell defeating Hell on Heels, Renee Michelle and Sahara 7. Short, not too long, and I think I think the major quality of this match is that it did not overstay its welcome. I think it did in and out. Kay and Marty Bell look great. I think Renee Michelle and Sahara 7 are okay. But again, these are things that we're sort of getting into personal territory here. Not necessarily my cup of tea when it comes to wrestlers. Marty Bell and Allison Kay is a whole other 9 yards though, but they won this round here. The second match in the tag team title tournament was Kylan King and Red Velvet of AEW defeating the Free Babes, not the Free Base. That's a whole other tag team and a whole other gimmick that I would not necessarily want to see on TV. Jazzy Yang and Miranda Gordy, who of course is the daughter of Terry Gordy. They're doing the whole Freebird gimmick, and with Haley J, who's there as well. Haley J is a whole other conversation for another time. But the three of them are doing the Freebirds thing, and they even come out to Bad Street USA. It's cool. Miranda Gordy, very powerhouse, very good. Jazzy Yang, I think, is very cool. But Kylan King and Red Velvet, who work really well as a tag team. That being said. And if AEW wanted to capitalize on both of these women and give them some airtime, give them some stuff to do, put them in a tag team, let them do shit together. Because they really did work really well together. Great tag team offense, some very aware of each other, like the kind of thing that you're like, okay, well, you guys clearly have excellent chemistry because you're not like wrestling as a tag team, 3 nights a week. It was actually quite surprising. So it's the kind of thing that makes me think, and it's a bit of a sidebar here, but I'm going to go down this sidebar. It's kind of interesting when you think that, we keep saying, AEW, just give us more women matches, but put more women on television. And there is room for tag teams, for women tag teams. We see them occasionally on Dark, right? We just, everyone got really excited with Julia Hart and Big Swole, right? And even come up with a name for themselves called Hart and Swole. It's not Anna Jay and Ty Conchi, like that kind of. People get excited for tag teams, for fun pairings. This is a really interesting pairing. And could give more TV time to both of those women. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't capitalize on it because they worked really, really well together. So this was absolutely fine. In and out. Again, didn't overstay its welcome. Mostly because the women would be wrestling later on in the evening. And I don't know if this is exactly where it happened. But Gail Kim came out. Well, ultimately, Gail Kim came out. There was a whole what's the word I'm looking for? An angle that was set up as well with Gail Kim, and where she came, she had hit the ring, and she was accosted. She was accosted by Taryn Terrell, who started talking shit about her, and whatnot, and so on and so forth. And that's fine. And sort of was threatening to get physical with Gail Kim when all of a sudden Awesome Kong comes out and hits the ring and sort of protects Gail Kim, her longtime rival, right, in TNA, only for the two women to have a bit of a promo back and forth, where Awesome Kong ultimately would announce that she is retiring from professional wrestling, which came. So not only was Awesome Kong showing up a surprise, but her announcement, the announcement of her retirement was like another layer to the whole thing, and really grabbed the headlines. Awesome Kong is exactly that. She's a woman who's wrestled everywhere and has decades under her belt, wrestled in most major promotions. The thing that I think that's really important to remember when it comes to her specifically, and Gail Kim to a certain degree as well, because I think both of them are intertwined, because at a time when a certain national promotion wasn't really fixated on letting women wrestle matches, Awesome Kong and Gail Kim were making sure over on TNA Impact that women's wrestling in North America would not fall to the wayside or become something completely irrelevant, relegated to, evening gown matches or whatnot. So it was an extremely touching moment that you could tell neither woman really rehearsed, didn't quite knew pretty much what was going to happen, but it wasn't a speech, it wasn't a fond farewell written on flashcards. Now, Awesome Kong was speaking from the heart, and so was Gail Kim. Tears were all around. It was a very emotional moment, and a good moment for Kong to end her career, to say her goodbye on a big note, on a big show for women's wrestling, a big return on top of that at the Chase. It all made sense. It's not as if she could have got that kind of reception somewhere else, or that kind of send off. And you know what? I enjoy this idea more and more of these legends of the business getting a chance to leave the business on their terms and on the way they want to go. The speaking from the heart to a certain degree. I really like that, and that's why I know a lot of people. There's a lot of conversation about legends being hired by WWF Hall of Famers being hired by AEW, but like Sting, Mark Henry, Big Show, Tall Paul, excuse me, and I don't see a problem with them wanting to close out their career on their terms instead of Vince's, and I think that's crucial. It's so important that wrestlers get the opportunity to do that. I don't see a problem with it, and I was glad Kong was able to do it right here. Deonna Purrazzo successfully defended the Impact Knockouts title against Melina in a match this is a match that entirely defines where your preferences are. This wasn't a bad match by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Deonna and Melina are in completely different planes of existence when it comes to pro wrestling. Don't want to minimize the contributions of Melina, as she was back when she was in the Divas, when she was in the women's division in WWE. But as far as, pure athletic wrestling goes, as putting a match together, making something entertaining, my God, Deonna is on a completely different level. She is one of the best wrestlers out there, absolutely, bar none. I didn't see it. If the only thing that sort of irks me here is I thought the match went a little long. I remember tweeting out, and when I talked with Deonna as well, because I had the chance to talk to her, the match gave me the impression that Deonna was just playing with her food. Like she could end it at any given moment, but she was just having too much of a good time, kind of thing. But it was good. It was good, and definitely a better match from Melina than what I expected. That's for damn sure. The NWA World Women's Tag Team Title Tournament Final happened as well, where the Hex, Allison Kane and Marty Bell, defeated the AEW team of Kylan King and Red Velvet. And this was very good. This was a very dynamic, entertaining, cardio of a match. I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic, and I ultimately you kind of saw the outcome arriving. You sort of saw it coming to a certain degree. I was like, well, they're not going to let the AEW girls leave with it, right? But it was high speed and just a workout from top to bottom. I loved it. I thought it was very, very good. Allison Kane, Marty Bell, bringing back a part of NWA history. You can check out my interview with them as well, because I asked them who they'd like to fight. I asked them about the Forbidden Door. Of course I will. What are you talking about? And now they're champs? You kidding me? I'm not going to pass up that chance. Fantastic. And again, I'll say it again. Kylan King, Red Velvet, there's something there. There's something there that AEW can capitalize on if they really wanted to. That's the issue with everything that has to do with the women in AEW. It's if AEW wants to. Like today on the media call, right? For All Out, which was handled by Tony Khan and CM Punk. Cody Rhodes unavailable. He's still been murdered by Malachi Black, Tony Mien. You've got Tony Khan, who he gets asked a question about, what are they going to do next moving forward with the women's division. He says, well, I've lent out women to the NWA this weekend. Isn't that great? I'm like, yes, Tony, it's kind of like you should be doing this. And again, I'm speaking out of love here. All criticism comes from a place of love. Don't ever forget that. And I'm like, yes, Tony, of course, it's good that you lend out AEW talent to the NWA and out there on the indies. That, to a certain degree, it's an expectation, and it's something where it's like you do it with the dudes, so of course you should be doing it with the ladies. So yeah, and you know what? We would actually want more of it because it's really exciting, and you have the talent. You have enough women signed on that roster that you could pass. You could send them around wherever you want. But in the meantime, it doesn't address the question as to what are you, Tony Khan, going to do with the women's division moving forward? Because his answer left me left me sitting there going, okay, so it's going to be business as usual. We're just going to leave it as is. Yeah, or, I mean, at the same time, he could just be playing the PR game and going like, well, I'm not going to say anything that I might regret, that might come back to bite me later. Sort of like when they were setting up AEW and saying that they were going to create the best women's division in the world and the women were going to be super featured, which has not been the case. Even to this day, we're going to be 3 years into AEW. Yeah. And again, these are expectations that they created for us, the fans. If they had told us from the get-go, we're not doing women, I'd be like, boo. But they said we're going to be doing women and they're going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Well, they have fantastic women, but they're not featured as much. Anyway, again, that was a bit of a sidebar. My point being that the conversation can no longer be about AEW doesn't have women who aren't TV ready anymore. That's a myth at this point. It's bad faith, and it's a myth. If you still want to continue to perpetuate that. At this point, it's really a question of, is AEW interested in promoting its women on its main programs more than one match a week on Dynamite? Let's go back to Power. Empower. Match of the night, Camille retained her NWA World Women's title against Layla Hirsch. Now, here's another thing. Layla Hirsch was signed by AEW, and she was, I wouldn't say your prototypical. What's the word I'm looking for? She was your quintessential talented wrestler, but not quite ready for TV thing, right? Layla came out and she was like all business, but you weren't sure how do I digest Layla Hirsch, right? How do I look at a Layla Hirsch match and be like, how do I feel about it? How am I supposed to position myself? Because Layla's, she has this shooter attitude about her. She's all business. So she comes in and she she just jumps in and she wrecks people. And then you're like, well, but she has trouble connecting with the fans and so on and so forth. The Layla Hirsch that I saw at this match here was a complete flip from the Layla Hirsch who debuted in the pandemic last year. Absolutely fantastic match. And I did not, and from two workers who I was worried about how they were going to work with each other. Because Camille she's an imposing figure. She's a tall woman. She's built. She's strong. But, her work sometimes is a little iffy. But god damn, this match ruled. And this match got the entire room jumping. And as much as, again, I knew what the result was going to be. Like, I felt there was no probable way for Layla Hirsch to pick up the title. I could have been surprised, but I was like, nah, they're gonna keep it on Camille. They're pushing Camille on Power right now. It's not time to take the big belt off of her. But Layla Hirsch made everyone a believer that night, and she pulled off some fantastic moves. This was unquestionably the match of the night. And this was a match that every woman here took seriously. Both of these women took seriously. Layla clearly understood that this was the highest profile match of her career so far for the NWA title. On this card, she had to deliver, and she did. Camille, same thing. She represents the brand. She had to pull one out, and she did. Fantastic. And if anything, as much as this card is a breeze to watch, it's entertaining to watch. This is the match. This is the match you want to that you want to see, that you want to go back and specifically look at. It's that one right there. Great stuff. You can't just sit around and say, oh yeah, Layla Hirsch, she's getting better. Layla Hirsch she's there. This was a world-class performance that she put on. And she's not perfect yet, but her in-ring attitude, her presence, it's changing. It's improving. She's getting more comfortable with it. It's amazing. Well, I'll let you in on a scoop. Chat, let me know if you want a scoop. I'm going to take another sip of water while you tell me if you want a scoop. Come on, chat. Because I got a little scoopsy. I'll take that as a yes. I'm taller than Camille. I'm just gonna put that out there. This is great stuff. It was great stuff. And then the pay-per-view ended on the Women's Invitational Cup match, who the winner would get a shot at the NWA World Women's title champion, therefore Camille. It's a good scoop. What are you people? Oh. So Chelsea Green won the match. It was like Royal Rumble rules. It was where people would come in and eliminate. You could eliminate either by pinfall, submission. In this match was Bianca Corelli, Debbie Malenko. Debbie Malenko wrestling for the first time in a couple of decades. In case you're wondering, maybe the name rings a bell. Debbie Malenko was a wrestler in All Japan in All Japan back in the 90s. She wrestled a ton there. Extremely talented. Her name is Malenko, but she trained with Boris Malenko, which is Dean Malenko's dad. She's not a Malenko by blood, but Boris liked her so much that he said, yeah, you know what? You can use my last name if you want. She's been known as Debbie Malenko. This was her first match. She injured her leg in 1993, and outside of a couple of spots, she had never set foot in a wrestling ring since then, like in over, 2-3 decades. Nearly 3 decades. So that was a big deal. She did a couple of things. I think her time in there is all right. The time that she was in the ring was all right, and was a good celebration of her career as well. So nothing wrong to say about that. So Debbie Malenko, like I said, Jamie Senegal was in there as well. Genocide, Kira Hogan, Lady Frost, Masha Slamovich, Thunder Kitty, and Tootie Lynn. Masha Slamovich looked like an absolute superstar in this match, and she absolutely destroyed Tootie Lynn with one drop kick at some point in the match. She just hits this drop kick, and Tootie Lynn, she hits her flush on the back just as her legs are extending, right? But with such force, Tootie she just flew. Brilliant stuff. The match came to... This is the match that I'm a little more nitpicky on. Because I thought it ended the match... It ended the show on an odd note. Because Camille and Layla Hirsch was so good. They really could have wrapped up with that one. I think the match positioning here would be my main critique. I think the world title match would have been better served at the end because it was that good a match. Maybe it's like, oh, well, Camille is the heel. We're not sending home the fans happy. I think the match made the fans happy. Here's the thing, right? It's a very discerning crowd that was there. People who love pro wrestling. I don't think anyone would have been disappointed with Camille winning the match in the fashion she did. It was just and ending the show on that note. I don't think anyone would have been like, gosh darn it, I'm so bummed the heel won. It was just really, really good. But Chelsea Green, so they had Chelsea Green win the cup, fan favorite and whatnot. And the final two were Chelsea Green and Tootie Lynn. And Tootie Lynn is a St. Louis native. So she was wrestling in front of her home crowd. Huge reaction. When she came out, people knew who she was, and they were behind her 100%. Like, it was final two, her and Chelsea Green. No one wanted Chelsea Green to win at this point. Like it was, everyone was behind the hometown girl, and Chelsea won. And I can get it. Chelsea is a bigger name, right? She's a bigger name, so maybe you bank a little more on that. But I can't help but think, because the winner then would face Camille the next night, right? On NWA 73. And I can't help but think, with the reaction that Tootie Lynn got, you have her win the cup, and you have her face Camille the next day. Instant, super over baby face. Camille just has anti-hometown heat. Bingo, just like that. You have your perfect underdog match. People cheering for Tootie Lynn the entire time. I think it would have done a great service for the show the next day to have done exactly that. Don't think it would have been, I talked about it with some people and they were like, well, maybe it was a little too early to pull the trigger on Tootie Lynn. I'm like, it's not pulling the trigger on Tootie Lynn if you're serving the home crowd, right? If you're giving the crowd something to cheer about. I mean, sure, Chelsea Green got a good reception the next day. That's not what I'm saying. She wasn't being booed out of the building because she defeated the hometown girl. I still think it's weird, weird in the sense that she had I think it's weird that NWA didn't capitalize on the fact that Tootie Lynn is from St. Louis, that they were making such a big deal out of the fact that the show was at the Chase, that it was local, that they were, you know, especially when they were talking about NWA 73, talking about Harley Race and how he's from Missouri. And so, like, but again, like I said, I felt like, you know, these were shows created by two different promotions. But a great show. And yes, shout out to Pollo Del Mar, who was there as well. She accompanies Jamie Senegal. She's her valet. Their valet. Sorry about the pronoun mix up there. If I did. But Pollo was there. Looks fantastic all the time. To me, NWA Power was an extremely entertaining show. And it is proof of concept that if you put your women in a position of confidence, where you put them in a position where they will run the show. Because the producers here, they were Mickey James, Jazz was a producer for the show as well, and Gail Kim. All women who know how to run a wrestling show. All women who are women and who know how to book women. Set this up, make the women feel important, give them center stage, let them run their show, and look at what you get. You get a show which is entertaining from top to bottom. Would they be able to maintain this kind of momentum week after week? Well, probably not. No, I mean, again, this is another silly discussion that I was privy to. I was like, well, I'm not sure they could do this week after week. What promotion can? Week after week, like sky high. But the proof is here. And it's not proof that it's not just proof that the NWA can do it. It's a proof of concept that any promotion can grab onto, latch onto, and then go, I'm going to apply this as well. I'm looking at you, AEW. I mean, there's no other reason. There's no other reason to not let your women run a show like this. Because it was very, very, very entertaining. And I'm glad to have been there. Was very, very thrilled to have been there. Want to say hello to Hellbringer. It's been a while. Good to see you. Certified Hustler. Nice to see you as well. I think we crossed paths at Empower this weekend as well. How you doing? Good to see you and welcome to the chat. And Jason PS3 is here as well. Let's move on to 73, NWA 73. This completely different. Like it's really a tale of two shows, yet run by the same company, and I didn't quite get it. Let's run through it real quickly. I won't have as many thoughts on this one. I have more an overreaching thought here. The show opened up with a no disqualification triple threat or a three-way match. Tim Storm defeated Crimson and Tom Latimer in a fun opener. This was a hot opener. Incredible spot by Tom Latimer and Tim Storm, where Tim Storm took a swanton off of a ladder by Tom Latimer onto, I think it was a steel grate barricade that they had set up, and Tim Storm was laying on top of it. That was a great spot. Just a wild brawl. Started from the get-go. Was great stuff. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. Then Mickey James wrestled. She wrestled Kylie Ray. Short match. I feel like they could have stretched their legs a little more here. I think they had a little more to give here. It was all right. It was fine. It was good to see Mickey James back in action. And I mean, there was nothing wrong with the match. Don't get me wrong. This was an absolutely fine match. Well worked. Good professional wrestling match. Again, Kylie Ray is a good professional wrestler. Male or female. She's extraordinary. Then we had Jordan Clearwater, Scion, the Mystery Man, and Tyrus defeating The End, which is Otis and Apero, and they were teamed up with the Pope. Uh, Tyrus is the worst professional wrestler that is on a major or second tier, major to second tier wrestling promotion on a regular basis. He's dreadful, absolutely dreadful. He just I don't know what. He's a lumbering mass. Like I tweeted out, like when I was watching him wrestle, it's like listening to a podcast on point fights at 0.5 speed. But I think there's an even better comparison, still off that same analogy. Tyrus is like listening to a podcast at 0.5 speed while everyone else is listening to theirs at 1.25. He is steps behind everyone. He is a lumbering, out of shape mass of nothing. And I have no idea what he brings to the table in NWA. I know of no one who's like, I so excited Tyrus is here, excited to see him wrestle. I see no one say that. I don't know. It's the opposite. I see people saying, I can't watch the NWA because they have that scumbag on it. Like, I do not believe there is anything of value that he brings to the table. He's been out of wrestling for so many years. I don't even think he can be a guy like, well, he can help the younger guys. I don't know how he can help anyone. He can barely help himself. And he dragged the match down. Pope was good. I love Odinson and Apero. Jordan Clearwater is a lot of fun. But Tyrus, man. What a waste of space. Absolute waste. And he was gassed. If you go back and watch the match, he does the most basic shit and he gets gassed. Hit the bricks, man. Chris Adonis, the NWA National Champion, successfully retained his title by defeating James Storm. They worked a classic heel babyface match where the heel spends the better part of the match getting heat on the babyface, and it's a little not quite explosive, not super explosive. It's really a classic North American territory style match that they ran. James Storm over with the audience, right behind there with his comebacks late in the match. But Chris Adonis managed to retain. It was fine. It was a well-worked match. Nothing to complain about. Now, here's something that we may be iffy on. The NWA National Title #1 Contendership Battle Royal was... Okay. If you watch this on TV, God bless you, because you were probably privy to what the hell was going on. But they announce everyone to come to the ring. There's 12 dudes. And then at the very end, it's like, oh, wait, there's music. And everyone turns and is like, wait, this is new? Who's coming to the ring? So everyone sort of turns and they're like, oh, surprise entrant. We see James Mitchell come out. Like, oh, this is interesting. James Mitchell showing up in NWA. What does he have up his pocket? And then this dude walks out and he looks like, like Malachi Black if he had, stopped eating for a month. And we're like, who is this guy? Who is it? And everyone is in complete silence because we don't know who this guy is. We have no clue who he is. And there's no screen in the chase, right? So there's no close-ups. People are like, they're going like, they're picking up their phone, and they're going like this. They're zooming in on their camera because they want to try and see who this guy is. No one recognizes them. And we're all kind of like, I'm with Kristen and with other people in media, and we're like, are we supposed to know who this guy is? Like we're sort of feeling bad. And he comes in and he starts tossing dudes around and he's getting eliminations and like, I'm on Twitter. I'm like, and I'm tweeting stuff. I don't like, no one knows who this guy is. Then people find out it's Judaeus. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. I mean, I'm sure everyone who was at home probably got it. People on Twitter were, and then he started pointing it out. Well, Warren, this is Gunner's old partner in Impact. Mikhail, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he's, so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad that you guys are able to tell me, but there's like 500 people here in the arena who have, in the ballroom, that have no clue who this guy is and couldn't give a shit, honestly. Because then you have guys that had natural babyface heat with the audience, like JTG, like Slice Boogie, like Sal Renaro. People who were like, woo, when they do shit, people would get excited. Then Judaeus would come in, or Judaeus, and he'd come in, he'd do shit, toss a guy over. People were like, oh. Like, he'd eliminate Sal Renaro, and people would go, boo. It's like, and you know, people are ganging up on him, and he's not that big. You know, he's not a big, like, huge, imposing figure. It's just like, we're going to book you as Invincible. We're going to book you like Kane kind of thing. Even though you're not as big as Kane. You don't look like Kane. You don't look as menacing as Kane. But we're going to book you like Kane. It was a very weird. And I think when I was looking through Twitter, looking at the results of the match, how people were reacting about it, people were like, oh, this was fun. Lots of comedy spots, so on and so forth. I couldn't see shit. I couldn't see a thing. There was always a wall of guys until we reached the final four. I don't know what was going on in this match. Couldn't see a thing. There's always a wall of guys all around the ring, and they were playing for the hard cam. Absolutely no. I was on the side. I was on one of the sides. Couldn't see a thing. Couldn't see what was going on, except when Judaeus would toss people, and people were like, "What is going on? Who is this guy?" Don't know. Have no idea who he was. Oh, I forgot to mention the definite highlight of this show. The absolute top, maybe until the main event, until the conclusion of the main event. But at that point, it was actually before, it was before this battle royal. Ric Flair comes out, cuts an undeniably fantastic promo that just electrifies the entire audience. You had a group of people who were there who wanted professional wrestling, who wanted to celebrate their love of the NWA, of pro wrestling, not sports entertainment. And look who shows up. The guy who is synonymous with the NWA title. A guy who, a true to form living legend. Coming to the ring, cuts this amazing promo. One part history, one part future. He thanks, look, I thought it was very classy, and a lot of people didn't know, maybe we're a little surprised. He thanks Vince, Triple H, Shawn, Taker. He thanks all of his WWF guys, all the big WWF guys. He says thank you to everyone. Doesn't shit on them, doesn't do anything like that. But then he focuses back, he goes back, why did these people all want me around? Why did they want to wrestle me? Because they all respect the belt. They all respect the territories, the NWA. It was a brilliant promo. And that electrified the crowd. And this is another reason that I thought it was so weird that it was positioned just before the number one contenders battle royal, where it actually deflated the audience, where everyone was sort of like, you come in after Ric Flair, who's just like, who's got the crowd on his feet. Everyone is chanting. There's chills. You're thinking to yourself, why would anyone put a script in Ric Flair's hands? Just let the man talk. And you get into your number one contenders battle royal that just goes weird. Camille defeated Chelsea Green. But anyway, Ric Flair there. Beautiful touch. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. His son-in-law, Conrad, was in attendance. He was there. But it really was a wonderful moment. And if you want to talk history about the Chase, you want to talk history about the NWA, Rick is one of the last living testaments of the great era of the NWA. Made perfect sense. Camille defeated Chelsea Green to retain the NWA World's Women title. Not much of a surprise there as well. Again, I didn't expect Camille to lose the title that weekend. And the thing, look, it was fine. I thought it was a little long and was not it was not as good a match as with Layla Hirsch. So it was what it was. The NWA World Tag Team titles were changed hands, actually, as La Rebellion, which is Bestia, and Mecha Wolf, defeated Aaron Stevens and Kratos. So they are the new tag team champions. This was an okay match. I felt the Clash of Styles was a little too strong, but it was okay. And the NWA World Heavyweight title versus career match happened. But Trevor Murdoch, his career was safe as he defeated Nick Aldis. He ended the reign of terror. Which was very... I don't know how it came across off on TV, but everyone was really electric for this match. And I think Trevor Murdoch was... I think Trevor Murdoch was the good man to I think he was the good guy to take it off Aldis. They were clearly doing like the everyman thing here, and I thought it was pretty good. Maybe the whole stuff with Billy Corgan at the top of the ramp and so on felt a little not only a little overbooked but a little early in the match too. But I think the story they were trying to tell here was, I think the story of the match was that Nick Aldis had gone complete, had a bout of megalomania. Like he was completely out of control, just felt like he could do whatever he wanted in the NWA kind of thing. And we sort of had to bring him back down. I think that's what the story they were going for. It's like, Nick, this isn't your promotion. You may be the champ, you may have been the champ but this is not your promotion kind of thing. So, I think it's I think it's cool. I think it's fine. It was fine, and I'm very happy for Trevor Murdoch, and it's also a good breath of fresh air, not going to lie, for the NWA as well. Nick Aldis always looked the part, acted the part, looked like $1 million all the time. He looked like a champ, but I think it was time to move on. Hell, if this is literally Ric Flair and Dusty. This is exactly what it is, right? The guy who doesn't look like a champion, who's the everyman, the sleeveless vests and the hats, the ball caps, and great celebration in the ring at the end with his family too. That was fun. That was a nice touch. But it really felt like it was a show that was a little more all over the place and lacked a little direction. And I'm not sure about the order of things either. Again, like as electrified as the audience was after the Ric Flair promo happened, everything just sort of, there's a lot of the energy that got sucked out of the room with the Battle Royal. It was a little strange, I'm not going to lie. But that being said, I was truly thrilled to have been there, to have made the trip to St. Louis, go and hang out there. I was excited to be there. to go through that entire moment with everyone. I thought it was great. And an electric crowd, a fun crowd who were really into wanting to see professional wrestling on this scale, you know. And I think it's good. I hope 73 did good business. I mean, both nights were sold out, but I hope 73 did good business. I hope Empower did good business, because the world of wrestling needs a healthy NWA. I really do. For the ecosystem, for everything that goes around it, I think a healthy NWA is super important, because it gives more room for more people to work, to move around, to try stuff out, maybe, you know, get ready for bigger steps, or, you know, move away from other promotions and try other stuff out. I think it's fantastic. I think it's good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, before I get into before I get into AEW predictions, I'll say it. I just want to point out this growth that I have on my forehead, and none of you have mentioned it watching live right now, and I really appreciate it, because you really could have been like, Warren, there's you know, there's something growing on your head. It's pretty bad, isn't it? And I feel it's just getting worse as I'm getting sweatier. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for that. But seriously, if you're enjoying the show right now, if you're enjoying it, give us a like, a thumbs up if you haven't already. That'd be fantastic. Hopefully it's not a staph infection. Oh, I wish I'd taken a bump. It's nothing that glorious, unfortunately. Before I talk about AEW predictions, though, even before. Oh, now everyone's railing. Thank you so much. You guys are great. You've heard by now that Minoru Suzuki is coming to take over. What am I saying? He's coming here to destroy the United States independence, right? You've heard this. Legendary Japanese wrestler, current New Japan Pro Wrestling signee, Minoru Suzuki, Murder Grandpa. He's coming to the United States. Lock your doors, hide your kids. He's about to destroy a bunch of people. And I just want to take a second, just before we get to it, I just want to take a second to say, Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the MrWarrenHayes show. Yeah. Hi, Kristen. It's also over there, just in the next room. I just want to take a minute just to run down what Suzuki is doing. This is what we know so far, and I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. In chat, if you're on the up and up, let me know what's going on. If I'm missing anything, let me know. But here's what we got. On September 17, Minoru Suzuki is going to be fighting Jonathan Gresham, for fuck's sake, at GCW Highest in the Room. On September 24th, he's doing another GCW show, and he's going to be fighting Homicide. It is going to be exactly that. These guys are going to hurt each other. It's going to be wild. September 24th, GCW Get Lost a Lot is the show he's going to be on. Then he's heading to the New Japan shows, the Autumn Attack show, September 25th. He's going to be fighting Fred Rosser. That rules. Then the next day at the other Autumn Attack show, September 26th, he's going to be teaming with Lance Archer. They're going to be taking on Team Filthy. Jesus! He's going to be fighting Calvin Tankman on October 1st at WrestleMax St. Louis. St. Louis. My God. And there's one that that never really crossed my mind, right? No Leaf Clover Pro Wrestling Network, October 8th. It's going to be on IWTV. Minoru Suzuki taking on Red Death himself, Daniel Garcia. Our boy Daniel is going to be taught a lesson. I love you, Dan. I love you to bits. But you're gonna get schooled. My God. That's going to be so good. He's supposed to appear in Philadelphia for the New Japan shows on October 16 and 17. Then he's fighting Dominic Guarini at Time Bomb Pro on October 21st. And there's still 2 more GCW shows to announce that he's scheduled to be on, but GCW hasn't announced the shows yet. So we still are crossing our fingers that we're going to get the Orange Cassidy match. We're still this close. I think that's what everyone is hoping. That's what I'm hoping for. We're still this close. Daniel Garcia is absolutely. Daniel Garcia is a made man. When's the last time that we've seen such an ascension from the indies, right? Where then this guy starts showing up on AEW, and yes, he's in losing efforts, but he's in rivalries with the biggest guys in the company. He's punking out Darby Allin, who is fighting CM Punk in his return match. And then Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. Are you kidding? That is a sign that this guy is made, that AEW is behind him. And then we've all got the rumors that Daniel Bryan is about to show up sooner than later. I'm like, Garcia is just, he's got to be living a dream at this point. But smart guy. He's putting in the work. He's in demand right now. He's on top of the world, so he's putting in the work. Jesus. It's fantastic. And now he's fighting Suzuki on the indies. Fighting Moxley again. Is it Moxley? Who's he fighting again? Or is it Darby? No, he's fighting Darby again, right? It's amazing. It's amazing stuff. And the thing is that it's happening to a wrestler who is a pro wrestler. He is amazing at pro wrestling. He's not a gimmick. He's not a sports entertainer. He's a wrestler. He's a guy who gets in, goes to work. Fantastic. Incredible. Fantastic shit. Please don't become problematic, Daniel. Please. Please. But anyway, Minoru Suzuki, man, leaving a trail of destruction behind him. I'm so stoked to see how all of this is going to go down. I am really excited. So, let us talk about All Out. Yes, I am going to be doing my predictions. I won't be doing a predictions show proper this weekend. I am wrapping up my own tour of the United States. I want to spend some time with my beloved. So I won't be doing a stream proper. So this will be my official All Out predictions for the big show happening this Sunday. By the way, I don't know if I hammered this home last week after seeing Dynamite and Rampage. If you have an opportunity right now to go see an AEW show, go see an AEW show. The crowds are hot. The people are into it. The product is on fire. It's time. Splurge for the tickets, and I swear, even if you're in the nosebleeds, you're going to have a good time because everyone is into it. It is a fun live show to go to. And yes, I saw the Chicago show where CM Punk came back. That's a little bubble. But then I saw the show in Milwaukee. Kristen and I, of course, we saw the show in Milwaukee, and the crowd was alive for it for the entire thing, for the dark tapings, for Dynamite. And then we even got a Rampage taping after that. It's like everyone was into it. If you have the chance, please go do it. So chat. We're going to start talking about the card here. Some predictions. Let me know who you think is going to win as we go along. I'd like to get your sense here. because I think there's some really interesting outcomes here. There's some really interesting matches. Let's get to it. Let's start right ahead. The pre-show on the buy-in, we're gonna have Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express taking on the Hardy Family Organization, the Hardy Family Outcome, the Hardy Family Outfit, Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2. 10-man tag match. All right, whatever. I am a I am a fan of pretty much everyone in this match, but I'm not a fan of this match because I don't think Orange should be in the Orange should have had a singles match. I think Jurassic Express should have been better positioned on this card. The HFO does nothing for me. TH2 are fun, but this one's a stocking stuffer, right? So let's just get people on the card. It's whatever. I think the baby faces win. What do you guys think? Wheeler Yuta wins for the baby faces by hitting whatever the fuck his finish is. There you go. Yeah, give Yuta the big win here. The 21-woman Casino Battle Royal is going to be technically the first show. It's going to be on the main show now. That was bumped up. Drop in the chat right now, folks, who you think the Joker is going to be. Right? Because we've got Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tai Conchi, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, Kira Hogan, Abaddon, Layla Hirsch, Kylan King, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, and Riho. What they need to do here is, this is what I think AEW needs to do here. I think they need to take a baby face from their current roster to set up as Britt's next challenge. And I don't think it should be the Joker. I think the Joker needs to come in and they need to sign her this year. Don't pull a Mercedes Martinez on us, and sign her this year. But I think this is what you do here. This could be, if AEW does this right, this could be a potential watershed moment for the women's division to create multiple feuds. We've already got something with Tai Conchi and Anna Jay now with Bunny and Penelope Ford, right? That's something there. Why not give another undercard fight, feud, let's say, you could, I'm just scouting here. Why not have Thunder Rosa set up a feud with Jade Cargill? Hear me out here. I think this is how you'd propulse Jade Cargill to something higher, to another level, because Thunder Rosa is going to make her look like $1 million. She'll be able to walk her through a match, be a true ring general to the very green Cargill. I think you come out of this one with you could have a couple of you could do Layla Hirsch and Nyla Rose. You can do Samson and Goliath here, and that'd be fantastic. There are many. If this Battle Royal is booked properly, you could create 3-4 different feuds for the women's division in a flash. And then have the Joker come out, Ruby Soho, as many people are predicting in the chat. And I think you are correct. I think all signs point to yes here. If I'm a magic 8-ball, that's what I'd answer. I think Ruby Soho comes out, but she doesn't have to be the number one contender from the get-go. And I think it's a smart move not to do it. Look at what they did with Christian. Didn't throw him into a title program straight off the bat. Let him earn his win. And his run has been much more satisfactory than if they had just dropped him directly into the title picture. Boom. Right? I think this would be great. think this would be there'd be a lot of good stuff to come out of this match here, if they play their cards right. So, who am I predicting to win? What would be? Let me see. I predict, like, I feel like we're going to do, like a transition, a transition championship fight here. Big Swole. Let's have Big Swole win it. I think we're good with that. That would be my prediction. Let's do that. Next on the card, we've got Jon Moxley taking on Satoshi Kojima. I think there is a lot of people out there who are reacting to the Kojima news with somewhat disappointed. You know, I think they're somewhat disappointed because I feel, well, everything was pointing towards Hiroshi Tanahashi being Moxley's challenger, which, to be fair, is a much bigger match than Kojima, because Tanahashi is he's a superstar. Like he's a well-known international commodity. He's the ace. He transcends the company. Like, nothing against Kojima in and about himself, but Tanahashi he's the star. He's the John Cena. He's the guy you want. So I think a lot of people were disappointed when that happened. But Kojima is no slouch. He has the pedigree behind him. I mean, he's an IWGP heavyweight champion, two-time heavyweight champ. He's a multiple-time tag team champion with Hiroyoshi Tenzan. He's also been NWA World Champion as well. He's also been the All Japan Triple Crown Champion twice. Those are big. I mean, it's big deals. He has an illustrious career and can still go. That's the main thing. He can still absolutely go. Huge arms. He's a fantastic guy. I'm excited. I'm honestly excited for this match because these are two guys who don't mind hitting each other and don't mind getting hit back. Now, I think Jon Moxley is going to win this match. That would be my guess. But it's going to be a good one. I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to it. No, it doesn't have the allure of a Hiroshi Tanahashi, but it's still going to be good. Got some people picking Swole here for in the chat, picking Swole for the Casino Battle Royal, which is good. It's going to be good stuff. I think Mox is going to have a good time. Paul White is going to be taking on QT Marshall. This is one of the more. This was a curious little plop of booking that I didn't understand at Dynamite this week when. They set up the angle, right? They continue the angle for the show, and then the Gun Club turn on Paul White. I'm like, why are they doing this just before the pay-per-view? Why are they making this story more complicated than it should be? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I don't understand and why it shouldn't be complicated. This is an attraction match, right? This is your equivalent of having Goldberg come on your show and doing a match, or Undertaker. At this stage, this is an attraction match. Now, the difference with WWE is that they put Goldberg in title matches, but you don't have to put your attraction in a title match for it to be an attraction. You get what I'm saying, right? And this is exactly what this is here. Tall Paul, in and about himself hitting the ring, that's all you need to know. That's all you need. Now, I appreciate them wanting to give this story with QT Marshall, but I also think it's been overwrought, and I think it's been overly complicated, especially when, there's people like me sitting around saying, why are they doing this angle when they could be booking another women's match instead? We don't need a complex story. We needed a 3-minute promo from QT Marshall backstage saying, oh, Tall Paul, me and the boys were going to get you. And we're all going to go out bowling with your head after, or something like that, It's weird. It's strange booking, and I don't know what the Gun Club stuff is going to do here, outside of make me sort of grit my teeth at the idea that they're going to have Tall Paul wrestle again. By the way, chat, let me know who you think is going to win here at this during this confrontation between Marshall and White. Now, look, this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a short match. I hope it's under 6 minutes. I hope White comes in, tries some offense. Comoroto, Solo, they interfere to give QT Marshall a heat spot so that Tall Paul can mount the comeback, get the win, and we're out. And honestly, that's all we want. Then again, I might be shocked to see Paul White going back up onto the third rope doing drop kicks, missile drop kicks. Okay? I could be. But if my memory of his previous recent WWE matches, if my memory is okay with them, I don't want Paul White wrestling all that much. I'm okay with him getting a moment of shine. Again, goes exactly to what I was saying earlier. Let the legends go out on their terms. Let them have some spotlight. Let them go out in the ring instead of going out, being beat up in the dark by Randy Orton kind of thing. I'm absolutely okay with that. I just hope it's short, and I hope it's not overbooked. Technically, this should be simple. It should be formulaic. And I feel like I might be surprised, but as it stands right now, I feel this is a bit of booking which is being overthink. They're overthinking it. And I'm underspeaking right now. I don't know if underspeaking is a word. Let's jot that one down and put it in the WarrenHayes dictionary of weird words. Yeah, I think a lot of people are expecting White to win. We'll see what happens. But my expectation is there. We'll see what happens. Now here's an interesting one. Chris Jericho versus MJF. Chad, I know you have some. I know you have some thoughts. I know you guys have some, and gals. I know you have thoughts here. Mm-hmm. Let's get into it. Of course, the stipulation here is that if Chris Jericho loses, he must retire from ever wrestling in an AEW on an AEW pay-per-view ever again. His promo on Wednesday, Chris Jericho's, made me a believer that he may lose. That's how successful I thought his promo was. He made me believe he just might lose. And this is the first match of the evening that I feel can go either way. There's a way I'd prefer it to go, but I really feel it could go either way here. And I think it would be okay for Chris Jericho to have his swan song here, to sort of bow gracefully and be like, well, God, thank you. I'm going back to Winnipeg. But here's the thing. This is how I'd like this to go. I would like MJF to beat him a fourth time. Because I think, look, MJF is a cornerstone of AEW. And he's going to be for years to come. He is the top heel in the company, probably in North America. Is Jay White still in North America? I think already going around with a 3-0 record on Chris Jericho, getting the opportunity to not only say 4-0, but I retired the son of a bitch. You're giving MJF material for years. And it's a statement. It's a statement, and it is a legitimate passing of the torch from Jericho to MJF, who parallel each other in their style, in their presentation. They mirror each other in many, many ways. It would make absolute sense for it to end with MJF winning. I think he should. I love the idea that Chris Jericho had this one guy in his career that he just could not get the leg up on. Just MJF has his number from start to finish. But I'll tell you, whatever happens, I hope we're done. I hope we're done with this, because this is a feud I'm a little played out on. I thought that after the labors of Jericho, that this would be done. And Jericho comes back and says, I just want one more match. I'm like, why? I have to look at myself in the mirror every day and wonder, can I beat Maxwell Jacob Friedman? No, you can't. You lost 3 times to him. He's beat you 3 times. No, you can't beat the guy. But I have to be sure he's beaten you 3 times. There's not even room for a rubber match. Either way, the story makes sense. Jericho finally gets the win. He gets his mojo back. He continues. MJF gets the win. He's defeated one of the greatest of all time over and over and over again. He's on top of the world. He's king shit. And we move on from there. Right? That absolutely fantastic. Personally, I think there's more value in MJF defeating Jericho. I really do. Jericho said, "I'll go do commentary." Right? He said, "I'll go do commentary." I'm like, cool. Go do commentary, and Jericho will be great on commentary. Don't get me wrong; he'll be fantastic. He really will. But MJ, that's the thing. It's like I'm repeating myself. It can really go 2 ways. I hope MJF continues his winning streak over Chris Jericho. I think it'll be a great story for the future. And this is what this match is about. It's really about the future of the company. I really do. I'm all for it. I am entirely all for it. Not a bad little retirement run that Jericho had. You know, Nick Gage, bringing back one of his old nemesis from the Cruiserweight division back in the WCW days. You know, it's a nice farewell tour that he got. And this is pro wrestling. If Jericho wants to go wrestle one more match, he can. It's pro wrestling. What do you guys and gals think here? Thinking MJF, Jericho. We'll see. It's a little half and half here. We'll see what happens. Miro is going to defend the AEW TNT Championship against Eddie Kingston in a match that I am ridiculously excited for. This is the match that I'm bubbling with excitement for. Miro has been absolutely fantastic. Eddie Kingston is one of my guys. I don't know. This is one of those that can go either way, right? It can definitely go either way in this match here. Miro is a dominant champion, and I think this is good. I think it's good that they've established him as a dominant champion with this belt, and it's become very connected to him at the same time, right? His promos have all been very, very focused The title feels like it belongs to him. I think there's a good sense of appropriation here, which a good champion should do. You should be able to, a memorable champion will be attached to a belt. You know, Brody Lee will be attached to this belt. I think a lot more than Cody will have been, despite the fact that Cody ran it through. Same thing here. Look, I don't want to diminish anything, and it's not the point. I definitely don't want to start up a debate. I think, everyone who's held the title so far, Darby, Brody, Cody, Miro, they've all owned the title. I think they all made it theirs. But Miro is so strong with it right now. Eddie Kingston, fan favorite, a guy that is afraid of nothing, and we believe that he's afraid of nothing. And I'm still going to bring it up. I think Eddie Kingston is the modern day Dusty Rhodes. He is the everyman. He's the guy who's just pulls himself up, who's suffered through the rigors of 21st century life to make it where he is today. He's came from nothing. He came off the streets. He's had struggles with mental health. I don't think there's a wrestler out there who represents more the essence of what it is to struggle in our modern world than Eddie Kingston is. And I think that's what makes him so fucking relatable. Do you put the title on Kingston at this point? I'd be okay with a program against Miro. Let's stretch this bastard out a bit. Let's go for more. Let's keep the ball rolling here. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about this match. This is probably the one I'm most excited for because I feel like it's unpredictable. I think it's going to be violent. And I think both guys are going to bring it and both guys are going to surprise us. We got Miro winning in the chat. It's fantastic. I want to say hello to Evan Wright, who's here. How you doing, Evan? Welcome to the chat. Mr. Fantastic is here too. The Young Bucks are going to be taking on the Lucha Brothers in a steel cage. We've seen Lucha Bros, Young Bucks umpteen times in the past. This is nothing new. The cage match adds a little spice, a little flavor here. I am not going to lie. I would have preferred to see Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in this position because it would have been fresh. It would have been new. Just something completely out of the ordinary. And folks, by the way, let us know. Let me know who you think is going to win here. Do the Bucks retain? Lucha Bros new champ. It's going to be the spot show of the night. They're going to try and kill themselves, especially Rey Fenix, right? Hopefully Rey Fenix will not destroy his ankles more than they actually are right now. But it's going to be a wild one. The cage is the spice here that makes it interesting because I'm at a point where I'm like, yes, Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers has that dynamic aspect of it that's going to be an entertaining match, but I've seen it before and I've seen it multiple times. And between y'all, you guys know that there are certain Young Buck matches that I don't like, depending on who they're fighting, because the Young Bucks I think they're extremely versatile. They can do any type of match. And I don't think this is going to be the type of Young Buck match that I personally like. And again, we're just talking taste here. This is the MrWarrenHayes show. The MrWarrenHayes show talks about MrWarrenHayes' tastes in wrestling. This is not going to be a grounded, grappling fight. It's going to be spots. It's going to be the holy shit moments. It's going to be the this is awesome moments. This is going to be it. Now the question is, who does the flip off the cage? It's got to be Phoenix, right? It's got to be Phoenix. I don't see anyone else other than him. My prediction overall, lots of people saying, no, let's see. I say lots of people. We got Lucha Bros, Bucks got to retain. Lucha Bros, Lucha Bros. And you know what? That's what I'm angling for. I think the Lucha Brothers should win as well. Freshen up the division a bit, more matches. It's good stuff. So yeah, there you go. So that's the. I mean, it's going to be exciting. But like I said, excited to see what they're going to do with the cage here. I want to say hello to William Davis. Welcome to the chat, William. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, is going to be taking on Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship. I am excited to see how this match is going to go. These women should work fantastically together, folks. I am looking to you right now in the chat. Who is going to retain? Who's going to win here? Does Britt retain? Does Statlander take the title up to the Andromeda Galaxy? I personally think Britt is going to retain here. Hopefully it's as high on the card as we're predicting here. Very, very high up. I think it is a high energy. I think it's going to be a very, very good match that these two are going to put on. I think Chris feels like she's got a lot to prove with this match. Britt she's one of the faces of the company, so she's going to bring it. I'm excited for this one because I think it's a good, solid women's championship match. I think I think they really have put together two strong candidates to have a really good match here. I'm excited for this one. I'm looking forward to it. No way Britt loses, and I agree. That's what the chat is saying, and I agree. I agree. CM Punk. I don't know if you've heard about this guy, newcomer on the scene. You might not be familiar with his work in Ring of Honor. Gonna be taking on Darby Allin. Now, this is the one that I am least excited for the discourse post-match. This is the one that I am not, that I just may avoid Twitter altogether after this match is done. And I'm going to let you guys tell me who you think is going to win here. I'm very curious to see what the astute live watchers of the MrWarrenHayes show believe who between CM Punk and Darby Allin is going to win. I'll tell you. I'll tell you who I think is going to win here. I think CM Punk is going to win here. And I think that they have no choice than to put CM Punk over. Because he's in Chicago. Because it is his first match back. Because, look at the mainstream attention that CM Punk has been getting. The interviews that he's been doing in newspapers in New York. It's been on ESPN. He's been doing the press rounds. Why would you not have him return to his Chicago home and have him lose? The mentality that AEW has, keep this is crucial because AEW has a track record of this at this point. AEW sends the home crowd home happy. That's what they do. They don't overthink things and like, we'll have him lose tonight, but then on the 2 Dynamites from now, he'll get the win back, but then we'll set up the rubber match. And it's like, no, look, they're immediate tunnel vision up until this point. We're in Chicago. CM Punk is coming back for his first match in 7 years. He's in his hometown. He's winning. Here's what I'm afraid in regards, and this is what I'm afraid in regards to the discourse, right? Is that then everyone will be like, oh, AEW is now burying its talent for the old WWF guys that are coming back, which is a shit take. Darby, at this point, regardless of what you do in Chicago, he is going to be the heel. Darby is going to be booed. Maybe not massively, maybe not across the board, but Darby has to work this match as a heel. I don't think the opposite is going to work. He is not going to be welcome in Chicago, and that's okay. And if Darby loses to CM Punk, there is no reason for them to circle back to this. And there is no reason for them to circle back to Darby coming back to CM Punk and getting the win. And there's no reason for us to doubt that they might do that, because they did exactly that with Darby and Cody Rhodes. Where Darby just, he took Cody to the limit the first time, couldn't beat Cody the second time, third time was the charm. There is no reason why they couldn't do that. And I think that's, from what we understand of AEW's booking pattern so far, and how things are going, how things move forward, and how they create their live shows. Because I still maintain, I'm going to tell the main difference between AEW and WWE, that AEW does a live show that they tape, where AEW does a television show in front of a live studio audience. That will always be the difference. AEW will always do their shows for their live audience because they know an ecstatic live audience comes across on TV, and that's what you do. And I am convinced that they're going to circle back to Darby and CM Punk in a couple of months, and it's going to be exciting. And anyone who comes out of this match, unless it is a complete squash, which I don't think is going to happen, I think they're going to have a competitive match. Anyone who's going to come out of this match saying Darby Allin has been buried is just going to be a bad faith operator. I think CM Punk wins. Chat seems to agree too. And in the main event, we have Kenny Omega, AEW World Champion. Is going to be defending against Christian Cage. Christian Cage, of course, defeated him a couple of weeks ago for the Impact title. Now, is he going to be able to do it for the AEW title? I don't think so. Chat, let me know if you are in agreement or not. But I don't think our boy Christian Cage here is going to be doing a double duty on Kenny. I think Kenny's going to hang on to it because I still think I really do believe that that Hangman Page is the guy who is going to take the title off of Kenny. I'm excited to see this match because this is going to be the biggest test of Christian Cage's. This is going to be the biggest challenge for Christian Cage's since Christian Cage returned. I'm trying to get my thoughts sorted out here. If having a match with Kenny Omega is going to be a huge testament to where he's at right now. Excuse me. And if I'm sure that this is going to be a great main event. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. And you look at this card, and just with CM Punk and Darby Allin, just with CM Punk returning, why would you want Hangman Page on this card regardless, right? Why would you want to burn this one off? This is CM Punk's return. That's your magic match of the card. It makes even more sense now for Hangman Page to be further down the road. My booking of the whole thing wasn't so bad, right? Wasn't so bad. But I'm telling you, there is no reason on this card here to have Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. It would just be overshadowed. It'd be overshadowed. It is a perfect world championship fight for Kenny Omega. Everything else rolls off the tongue. I think this is perfect right here. Perfect. And Hangman Page, a couple of months from now, he'll come back. He'll be the cowboy again. Yeehaw. Whatever. No Dark Order on the card. You notice that? I did. Well, there you have it, folks. Pretty simple edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show this evening. We're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. If you'd like to hear what I think about the Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair discourse, become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show YouTube channel right here. Come and join us immediately after. I might drop a few thoughts. I wanted to talk about it. Ran out of time, but I'll talk about it on the post show, which is available to YouTube members exclusively. And we're going to start that in a few minutes as soon as I wrap things up here and I go wash my face. Maybe try to do something with this here. But I want to thank you all. So consider becoming a member. Come and join us. Otherwise, you know what we're going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about All Out some more. And I want to hear who you think absolutely has to win at All Out this weekend. Who needs a win? As opposed to who's going to win this match. Who needs a win? That's what I want to hear from y'all. But in the meantime, I want to thank you all so much for joining me this evening live here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. And if you're listening on your own accord, thank you. Consider giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for listening on the podcast. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you next time.